episode of the When Life Happens podcast. I'm your host, William Jackson, and I'm so excited because we have another opportunity to live, learn, and grow together. And today, I'm excited because I realized that over the course of all of the people that I've come in contact with all over the world, there is a commonality that we will always experience among us, and that is relationships. How we enter into relationships and how we exit relationships. Those two instances are vital in making sure that one, we come in whole, and if by chance it ends, we leave out whole. But what I realize is, if I'm being honest, is that the more people that I come in contact with, I see so many people having fragmented experiences where there are pieces of ourselves that have been left, where there are pieces of ourselves that have been abandoned, where there are pieces of ourselves that have been stolen or broken. And so many people are having fragmented experiences in their current state of life. And my goal, the whole mission for this podcast, is to create practical tools that you can apply to your everyday life to move you from having fragmented experiences to whole and complete experiences. Because the truth is, life is going to happen to us all. And if you are living life, you are going to be in contact. You are going to be interacting with people. It is a common denominator. We are always going to be interacting with people. And here's my question. Have you ever gone into a situation where you felt like when you came out of it, you left pieces on the table? Have you ever been in a situation where you've experienced a fragmented relationship, or there were things that left you broken, empty, and confused? Have you ever been in a space where you felt like you gave more than you received? Have you ever been in a space where you felt like, if I could go back and turn back the hands of time, I would do things completely different? A wise man once said that fear is temporary, but regret is permanent. If you've ever been in that place where you felt like that you gave more than you received, and you may have left pieces of yourself scattered abroad in your past relationships, whether it be friendships, business partnerships, intimate relationships, if you've ever had a fragmented experience, the information I'm going to give you today is going to help you to never do that again. Let's get after it. So today we are talking about loyalty. The truth of the matter is that so many of us, myself included, for years, I was very much a reactive person in relationships where I would move based on how a situation felt. I felt like this was the good job for me. I felt like that this was the career path I wanted to go. I felt like this was the place I wanted to be. I felt like this was a friend that I wanted to connect with. And so many of us are moving based on our feelings, and our feelings are irrational. We are having these reactive experiences, and we aren't oftentimes intentional to establish proactive protocols of how you are going to proceed in relationships. We should all have what we call in business a stoplight report. There are certain things that you need to see based on how you are going to proceed. Okay, what things are in the category of the green light that are giving me the green light? Okay, let me weigh those things. Now, what things are giving me pause? What things are causing me to slow down? And what are the red light flashing stop sign things that I may be ignoring because of how it feels right now? I wonder if we stop and actually did a stoplight report on our relationships and weighed how our relationships line up in terms of how many things are telling us to stop, how many things are telling us to slow down, which so many people have a hard time doing because everything is moving at the speed of light. We want everything now. We want it right now. We want things so immediate that the art of patience has become this fleeting concept. People don't want to be patient to work on something. People don't want to be patient to build something. The saying goes that if you build it, they will come. But now we're in the day of where we want things in reverse. We want the people to come and then we will build. We want the business to start flourishing and then we'll put in the effort. We want the relationship to be everything that we want it to be. And then we'll show up as our authentic selves. And we have a hard time slowing down. But the truth of the matter is that if you time a pause correctly, not only can you save yourself time, energy, and effort, but you can see things from a clearer perspective. I don't know how you are when you're driving, but a lot of times when people see a yellow light, that is the indication to speed up. I don't know if you've ever been that person. I'll be very honest. Sometimes I am, and I'll work on it. I'll work on it because you guys hold me accountable. I will. But when I see a yellow light, depending on how close I am, that means, hey, let me get through this light because I don't feel like stopping. Because I feel like if I get through this light, it may save me the few minutes that I will quote unquote waste by stopping at this light. And we feel like that if we see things that give us pause, that maybe if I just speed up, maybe if I just push past, maybe if I just go ahead and rush through this, I'll save myself some time and we'll figure it out on the back end. If you really paused for a second and just went back down memory lane, how many of your relationships have been in a space where you have had to figure things out on the back end because we were unwilling to slow down on the front end? What if we start maneuvering and matriculating through life from a standpoint of when I see things that give me a slight pause, let me slow down to actually assess the flow of traffic? Because we get so caught up in the feels. The flow of traffic is how it feels. Our feelings navigate our flow. But what if I slow down to actually see what's going on around me? Do you know how much we miss when we're moving fast? Whenever we're moving fast, our stressors kick in. And then now we're in this place and space where we're not even operating from a cognizant standpoint, where we are completely aware of our decision makings. We're just trying to do things quickly. And then what are the things that actually say, okay, this is the green light. This is where you should be. And if you weigh the categories, right? If you see that there are more things telling you to stop than there are telling you to go, then you making the decision to jump in and go anyway is setting yourself up to actually do more repair and experience more damage on the back end. So today we're going to talk about loyalty, because here's the truth. One of the most reactive points of view in relationship that we'll get in is oftentimes you get in something, you get connected with someone, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a business partnership, and you get in and you realize, wait a minute, we do things different. Because I understand that from my point of view, how I look at this may have a different viewpoint. I may have a different perspective, which causes me to be a little bit more loyal or a little bit more dedicated to what we are building. And I don't know if you've ever been in that place and space when you're trying to build with someone who's not committed to the building process. Have you ever been in that place where even in school, in grade school, where you had a class project and they broke you out in groups? Without fail, there are one or two people who are carrying the brunt of the workload. People who say, yeah, I'll do this, and they never do it. It's time for the class project to be turned in, and only one or two people have done the work. But guess what? All 4 or 5 people will stand up and receive all the accolades. How did that make you feel when you were in a place and space where you said, you're standing up and getting the recognition, but you didn't do the work? I was the one up late night. I was the one actually doing the research. I was the one actually getting the materials and bringing them to the table so that we can create something special. But then when we get into the place and space where now We have to address the fact that people have not been pulling their own weight. Oftentimes, people bite their tongue or they take a back seat. Why? Because we're loyal to the team. I wonder how many times we've gotten to situations where our loyalty levels were different. I see it oftentimes in marriages where the loyalty level is different. We even see it in terms of when men and women are getting engaged, that the man proposes to the woman and the woman then puts on the ring to let every man know that she's off the market. But the man still walks around with empty fingers. It's creating this place where there's double standards because we haven't addressed, okay, how do you do things? How do I do things? And more importantly, how are we going to do things? Because how you are engaging in relationship, in business, in friendships, how you are building will determine what is able to stand in the future. The building process, how you are laying the foundation, how you are actually sectioning out how you're going to build, what materials are you going to use to make sure that this structure stands the test of time. And one of the things that we never talk about is our loyalty level. But I can tell you, one of the greatest frustrations is getting into a situation and realizing that I'm more invested than you. Oh, to be in a space where you see that you are giving 150% and the other person is only giving 50. Imagine the frustration. And some of you are probably thinking about it right now. The back of your neck is probably getting hot because you remember the moments and times when you invested, where you poured. But because we didn't have the conversations to talk about, okay, not only am I addressing how I feel, but now let's talk about the strategic initiatives of how we're going to create something that lasts. And one of the things we need to talk about is our level of loyalty. How much are you giving? How much are you willing to invest here? And how loyal are you going to be to what we are building? This is why your marriage vows are so important, because what they establish is a baseline of loyalty in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. How long? Till death do us part. What is that? That is a baseline of loyalty. And I wonder how much of our relationships we could save, or how many toxic relationships we could prevent if we start having conversations about how much we are willing to invest and be loyal to in the beginning. Because there are levels of loyalty. When you think about just your friendships, you need to start assessing, what is your level of loyalty to me? Because if I am giving more than I'm receiving, and I keep setting myself up for failure because the things that I am giving, I am not being poured back into me, I am not receiving back, then I have a responsibility to make an adjustment. How loyal are you to me? Because there's different levels of loyalty. You have the people that are loyal to you as long as you are in their presence, that they got your back as long as you're there. But as soon as you turn the corner, there's no telling what's being said about you. See, someone who is truly loyal to you, not only are they loyal to you in your presence, they are loyal to you in your absence. That I won't tolerate things being said about my friends when they are with me or when they are not with me, because I realize that I am invested enough, that I have enough skin in this relationship to know and to stand on the fact that our foundation is built on trust. And I'm going to cover your six, as they say in the military. I'm on your six. I got your back whether you are here or not. These are the types of conversations we need to have. What is your loyalty level? If you hear somebody talking about me when I'm not there, what are you more inclined to do? Because there's a type of loyalty that'll say, you know what? I will never let anyone speak bad about you. And then there's another type of loyalty where they may say, I may just walk away. And then there's another level of loyalty where they say, I may just stay there, but I won't join into the conversation. You need to know what level of loyalty the people that you are connected to have. Because if I'm the type of person that is not going to let anyone say anything about you, whether you are here or not, and that is my expectation of relationships, then I need to know if you're the type of person that is going to do the same. Because a lot of our expectations in relationship have been unvocalized. They have been unsaid, unspoken expectations. These are things that we expect people to know. And when you have expectations without actual conversation, you are setting yourself up for frustration. Let me say that for you again. When you have expectations without conversations, you are setting yourself up for frustrations. Because without fail, if people don't know, they will revert back to their default. And their default may be to just keep the peace. If I'm the type of person who is just concerned about keeping the peace, then you need to know that. That's something that needs to be discussed, because keeping the peace may be, I may stand around and hear conversations or see people talking about you or see people conspiring against you or see people trying to sabotage you on the job. And I just may not say anything because I'm just going to keep the peace. Okay, well, if that's your personality, then guess what? I need to know that up front, because we have different levels of loyalty. Because my loyalty is saying that I won't let anyone do anything that is going to set my friend up for failure, that's going to try to sabotage your success. I'm going to go to bat for you. And when you're talking about baseball, sometimes when people get hurt and they are unable to run the base, they may come up and actually swing the bat, but they have someone who is a substitute runner for them, who will run the base. And sometimes they have someone who's a pinch hitter, who they'll come up and say, listen, you may not be able to take this swing, but I'm going to swing for you. Now, I'm not saying to physically go in and start swinging on people, okay? That's not what I'm saying. Keep your hands to yourself. But you have to be intentional about knowing the type of people that you have on your team. Because what if I'm hurt? How are you going to be intentional about making sure that I'm still covered, that I don't have to worry about sneak attacks? I talk about this in my book, When Life Happens. And in the chapter, What the Heck Was That? It talks about how the one hit that has the ability to shake your very foundation is the one you didn't see coming. The one hit that has the tendency or the probability to destroy your entire foundation is the one you never saw coming. So you have to be proactive to be always preparing for the unexpected. And there are tools in the book that I give you to help you prepare for the unexpected. But in friendships, in relationships, and in business, one of the things that you have to be intentional, or one of the tools that you have to intentionally use, is the power of your words to have the conversation to address our loyalty levels. Because it's levels to this. And so many times relational breaches happen because I'm operating on a different level than you are. You know, there's a level of loyalty that will say, if I'm connected to you, especially in friendship or in business, whatever the case may be, if something doesn't work out that affects you, it's not just you leave. When you leave, we leave. If there's a relationship that you're in, these are levels of loyalty, and that relationship doesn't work out, guess what? If you're my friend and I only met them through you, if this doesn't work out, when you leave, we leave. It's levels to this. because you have those types of people who will still talk to the ex that actually broke your heart. There are still people, maybe even your family members or friends, who will still be connected to people who brought the biggest or largest devastation in your life. It's levels of loyalty. And if that's you and you're the type of person to say, hey, if you get with somebody and I connect with them and it doesn't work out for you, then I may still connect with them or communicate with them because we have our own relationship and I separate the two. That's fine. I just need to know the type of person you are. Because if I'm thinking that if I leave, we leave, and if I leave, you stay, now we got a problem. So we have to be open to talk about our loyalty levels. Because if someone hurts my friend and my friend makes a choice to leave a situation, then guess what? My loyalty will say, I need to make sure that I am siding, that I am present, that the line is drawn in the sand. Because I am choosing this level of loyalty to invest, to say, wherever you go, I got your back. Now, this is not saying that you go blindly into places of darkness or into places of sabotage, because a real friend, when you are loyal to someone for real, a real friend won't do certain things. They won't let you be wrong. If there are people who see you going down paths that are not conducive for your destiny and where you have been called to be, and they let you go, and they tell you on the back end, oh yeah, I'm glad you left, because the whole time you were there, I was thinking, I don't even know why you're there. I really felt like this was beneath you, but you never said anything to me. That lets me know your level of loyalty. Because when you are truly loyal to someone, you won't let them be wrong. You won't let them go down a path that you can see is going to be destructive for them. A real friend won't let you travel down a path that is going to take you off of your course. When you are really connected with somebody, they won't let you be wrong if they're loyal to you. I'll be very honest. It's frustrating for me when you get in situations and you come out of it on the other side and people say, yeah, I'm so glad that ended, because that wasn't the job for you. I can see that it was weighing you down. It was frustrating you. I could see that you were losing pieces of yourself, but you never said anything. Now, once I see that, I have a responsibility to now assess your level of loyalty. Because if you're truly loyal to me and you want the best for me, you won't let me be wrong. You won't let me settle. And then you will also let me revert back to places that you know broke me down in the last or in the past. And you won't let me revert back to situations that you know broke me down in the past. If you are loyal, I'm talking about truly loyal to someone, then I am loyal to you enough to tell you the truth. If you can't tell someone the truth about themselves, you're on different levels of loyalty. If I'm trying to keep the peace in our friendship, then that just may be a different level of loyalty. But when I'm loyal to you, I want the best for you. When I'm loyal to you, I'm going to make sure that I cover your back, that I make sure that I support you, that I make sure that whatever is necessary for me to support and to be there and to cover and to protect. When we start having these loyalty conversations, that is when we really start seeing the truth about our relationship. Imagine going into situations and start speaking to the current levels of your loyalty so you know how to proceed. To say, okay, hey, let me give you a scenario. If I'm dating someone and the relationship doesn't work out, but you got cool with that person while we were dating, and I in the relationship, maybe it was toxic, maybe it just wasn't working. Are you more inclined to stay connected with that person? Are you more inclined to still talk to that person? Are you more inclined to stay connected on social media and like their posts? Are you more inclined to stay connected, or are you the type of person that when I leave, guess what? That relationship is severed. Because here's the thing, there are people who do both. And I'm not saying that you have to try to change people. What I am saying is that you need to know the loyalty level of the person that you're connected with. So you won't be expecting something that they won't have any desire to live up to. Because then they'll still be connected to the person because they have their own relationship with, and then now you're frustrated. Now you're angry. Now there's a breach in your relationship. Why? Because we're on two different levels of loyalty. Especially if you have been loyal to them in a similar situation in the past. That is one of those things that create these relational breaches, is that when we have history here and I have proven my loyalty level and now it's your turn, and then you act the complete opposite, that is when frustration builds. And that is when we're in places and spaces where there are these relational breaches. But the truth is, if we never talked about it, if we never had a conversation to know and understand how you would respond in this situation, can I actually be mad? Because what I see is what was revealed in this situation was really the truth about who you are. And if that's who you are, I'm not saying that you have to disconnect from people, but when you assess people's loyalty level, their loyalty level should also be tied to their proximity level. Your loyalty and your proximity should be tied in one. What does that mean? If you have the type of loyalty that is going to still stay connected to people who have done me wrong, even if I continue a relationship, that just means that I push you a little further out to increase your proximity level to me. Because the people who are in the inner circle have to have a different level of loyalty. And those people get a different level of access to me. This is how you start safeguarding your life and minimizing your frustrations, by setting up these parameters of having these conversations to level set, to see what foundation we are building, to see what is actually taking place, to see where we are and how can we get on the same page. Because if we are not on the same page, then I am setting myself up for potential future frustrations when I should be building with a mindset that whatever we're building is going to be something that's going to house this relationship, this friendship, that's going to give us refuge. This is going to be the place that we can come in and be safe. Relational safety is a game changer. When you feel like this is someone that you can trust with all of you, that is when you are most vulnerable, but that is also when you are able to reap the full benefits of a relationship. And for a lot of us, we have become vulnerable with people who had not connected with us on the same levels of our loyalty. So you're giving and you're there, and whenever they call, you pick up the phone. Whenever they need you, you stop what you're doing. Whenever they call you, whenever they are in a jam, you're going to do whatever you can to make sure that you are there for them. But then when it's time to repay the favor, you may be calling and they won't answer. You may text them 911 and may not hear from them from a few days. And that is when our emotional frustration, that is when we start venturing into these places and spaces where we are now angry and hurt and bitter, and resentment is building Why? Because we never had the conversation to say, how are we moving and how loyal are you? How connected are you? What are our relational procedures of how we're going to move forward? This is when we become proactive in minimizing our heartbreak or our disappointment by putting our trust in people who have different loyalty levels than us. It's levels to this loyalty thing. And some of us have been loyal to situations that have been toxic for a long time. And now you're in the place where you feel like that you have a loyalty here just because of your tenure, because you have been knowing each other for 10, 15, 20 years. And this loyalty is driving you to stay connected to places that are depleting you, but you don't have the wherewithal or the strength to make the necessary adjustments to protect you. So you just keep giving you. And it's time for you to start giving you, to start being more intentional about protecting you. Because if you're not loyal to yourself, everything that you are doing for people will now come in areas where it is depleting everything that you have, and you will have nothing left for you. You got to know how to set these boundaries. How loyal are you to yourself? How loyal are you to say, okay, you know what? I can't go with you this time. I'm tired. Or do we push past just because the crowd or the group or your friends or your best friend or your spouse is saying, hey, come on, we got to do this. If you're not loyal to you, then guess what? You run the risk of damaging yourself at the expense of other people. And that is when bitterness will slip in, because unconsciously you are giving more than you have the capacity to give. How loyal are you to yourself? Because some of us are loyal to dysfunctional relationships. You know, this friend that keeps calling you is a dysfunctional friendship. Every time they call you, it's about drama. Every time they call you, it's something toxic. Every time they call you, it's to compare. Every time they call you, it's to vent or to dump on you. Every time they call you, it's to complain about something or to brag about what's going on in their lives. How many times have people just called and stopped and really just checked on you and that be it? See, we need to assess the levels of loyalty. And once I see your level, if your level differs from my level, then I have a choice to make. Do I keep operating in this place where we keep moving forward at different loyalty levels? Because if I do, then guess what? I am setting myself for more frustration. I'm setting myself up for more aggravation. But if I am intentional, because what a lot of us do is we'll see that there's a gap in our loyalty level and we'll start dumbing down ourselves to actually put ourselves in situations where we are making the people who have a lower loyalty level more comfortable. And then by default, we are consistently putting ourselves in places where our heart, our mind, our soul can be damaged because we are in these relationships where you're giving more than you're receiving. So we have to stop and assess, how loyal are the people that you're connected to? Start having these conversations up front. Start having these conversations with your business partners. When you're going in, when you're asking questions at an interview, put your boss, your potential boss, in scenarios to say, hey, okay, if there was a potential situation where maybe there was someone who was causing drama on the workplace, or who was intentionally creating moments to try to sabotage me, or who may be trying to set me up, or who just may be stirring up strife, how will you handle that situation? Because that will let you know how loyal is this employer to just keeping peace, or to making sure that your employees or the people that work for this organization are protected, are covered, because then we don't have these unrealistic expectations by having a conversation. So how loyal are the people that you're connected to you? How loyal are you to you? Because the level of your loyalty will determine how you operate moving forward. And if you don't have these proactive thoughts or conversations that you probably need to have with yourself of just stopping to see, how loyal have I been to myself? And if I have been disloyal to myself, or if I'm still loyal to toxic situations, or I'm loyal to people who are not able or have the capacity to reciprocate my level of loyalty, then I need to make some adjustments, because when life happens, it presents us with opportunities to make adjustments. And if you make the proper adjustment, then you will be able to preserve everything that you need so that you can accomplish in the earth what only you can accomplish. Listen, I hope you got something out of this episode. And if by chance you walk away from hearing or seeing everything that I've said and you forget everything that's been said on this episode, I need you to be intentional about remembering this one thing, that you have everything inside of you already that you need to overcome and succeed when life happens.